It's about 22 and a half hours ago that we put this in. Now, my fellow woodworkers, and those of you who have watched several of my videos before, you might be thinking to yourself, he starts out these videos the same way every time. Well, when it comes to this pressure cylinder and disconnecting it and getting the Alumilite or cactus juice or whatever out of there, there's basically only one way I can do it, and this is it. Sorry if you're getting sick of it. Now, one of the viewers made the comment that something to the effect of, wouldn't it have been better if I had have not wedged the piece of wood in here so that the end grain was plugged up. Maybe if I take it out I can show you what I'm talking about here. Okay, you can see where the end grain was obviously up tight against the mold there. So that would have stopped the Alumilite, I guess, from being squeezed in. And I guess he was thinking if I put the pressure on, the Alumilite wouldn't be squeezed into the end grain, as well as had I not done that. But I was more concerned about the Alumilite getting pressed into the sides and all the little crevices. Like, let's say, no, I know this is exaggerated, but let's say there was a little hole. Well, the Alumilite would get forced into the sides, and I wanted to make sure that after I cut this into blank size, and when I was spinning on the lathe, the Alumilite wouldn't separate from the sides. It would be pressed into all the little pores here and be stuck in really, really well. I wasn't really thinking of trying to do like a cactus juice process. Also, I'm noticing this looks way too blue. I did 1 drop of green. Maybe I should have done 3 drops of green. Now, I was noticing that at one time this boat was blue. Don't know if you can see that or not, but there's some blue there. Then there's the darker green and then the lighter green. Now, I was looking at it more closely and also at pictures that I've got. I think the darker green was what I saw like 55, 60 years ago. Because obviously this lighter grain is on top of this, and the blue is on top of that. So, yeah. Anyway, enough details that you don't need to know. Now, you may recall that I was kind of wondering how well the Alumilite was going to get shoved into the cracks around the knot. Well, you can see here it did pretty good. It just got shoved right in. That knot is probably just as strong as if it wasn't cracked. It had been my hope that I could turn a couple of glacia kits here, but the brass tube on the glacia is pretty long. Can't quite make it. However, what I can do is I can turn 1 glacia and 1 Sierra. If I'm very careful and cut just right, it should work. I have double checked, in fact I've triple checked to make sure I'm not drilling the wrong size hole through the wrong blank. It's easy to do, especially when you're doing a pen kit that has a cap and the body are not the same diameter. Not bad. Been worse. Been a lot worse. Now the Sierra turned out just as good. Something that is extremely important, and that is you must get the wax off the outside of the brass tube there. There is a little bit of residue. I don't know if you can see it. If you don't, the CA glue or whatever kind of glue you happen to use will not stick to the brass tube at that spot. And at the end of the brass tube, that's where you want it to stick the most. Look at this pesky fly here. They just won't leave me alone. Unbelievable. Don't you dare get yourself stuck in my glue. Okay, I think I've waited long enough here. Give it a little bit of spray. Wait about 10 seconds. Go on. And then I should be able to pull this out. And I'm going to do the other one here exactly the same way. Now, what I didn't show you was I spent about 5 minutes almost cleaning out the brass tube. Just want to make sure that there's absolutely no CA glue inside there. I know I said that 100 times, but it's just so important. Anyway, the barrel trimmer thing, I find that I can do a more accurate job if I do this on the drill press. However, if I do it by hand, it's like 10 times faster. And if I'm careful, I can still do a good job. And I've also learned the hard way that if I wrap a rag around it like this to hold on to it, that if it all of a sudden catches here and starts to turn, it doesn't dig into the palm of my hand with one of the sharp little corners at the other end. Anyway, just and it's a good idea to, when you do it by hand like this, it's a real good idea to check a lot. Okay, that's it. Don't know if you can see it, but we're at the brass tube. And like I've said probably 20 times, no use trying to make it better, you're only going to make it shorter. Well, I guess the next step is try and make them round. And that's going to be tomorrow.